friend, welcome. We are still at the base of Mount Sinai, where we continue to see the people fulfill the commandment of God. We see Bezalel hard at work, making the things that God had commanded for his dwelling place, the tabernacle. And in a way, it is beautiful. It is glorious to see them really working with all of their heart. We have a window into the hearts of Bezalel and to the people. They appear to be just utterly grateful for this renewed covenant with the Lord. And so they are busy making and building this tabernacle just as God commanded. So once again, today we see the fulfillment of God's commands. We see obedience. And boy, isn't that key to worship? It is so key to worship, obeying the word of the Lord, obeying what he asks them to do. And that holds true for us today. I don't know that I have ever really thought so much about how worship and obedience are tied together. This idea that I am following the word of the Lord, following the ways of the Lord, seeking to do what he wants me to do is part of the first step. It's so basic that maybe we overlook its importance to a heart of worship. Okay, well, I sort of went off on a little rant there. We are on Exodus chapter 38 today, and this is really a continuation of where we have been. Yesterday, we reviewed who Bezalel is. He is the craftsman appointed by God, the craftsman who has been blessed with the Spirit of God in order that he build this tabernacle, build the dwelling place of the Lord. And we talked quite a bit yesterday about how the work of God is done by the means of the Spirit of God. And I don't think that gets old hearing that. You know what I mean? That is assuring to know that God has provided Bezalel with all that he needs and with all the people that are required for this huge project. God provides, and it is the Spirit of God. That is the means by which the work of God will be done. So Bezalel, he has been given ability, intelligence, and knowledge and all craftsmanship to be able to do this good work. And we've walked step by step, seeing him fulfill the commandment of the Lord and make. That word made, we've seen over and over and over again, make the parts and pieces of the tabernacle. So what do we see today? We see Bezalel making, number one, the altar of burnt offering. So that's number one. We see number two, the basin of bronze and its stand. And then number three, the court. So actually we are outside of the tabernacle itself. And Bezalel is making this court area, which is an area, I did put that in my keyword column, it's an area wholly or partially surrounded by curtains, walls, or buildings. And we don't have, in a sense, this feels repetitive, but we don't have all of the details that God gave Moses back in, where did he command the building of the court? That was back in Exodus chapter 20. Boy, I need my glasses. Is that 27? Yeah, Exodus 27, verses 9 through 19. We had a lot more detail on how on these courts. Really, more detail in all of this. The purpose of this, though, is for us to see, okay, they fulfilled God's command just as he said. They did it. They're not cutting corners here. They are doing the work just as God commanded. And that is a beautiful thing. Now, something that I noticed, something that I observed today, and I slowed down here to better understand, is that all of these items are made of bronze, right? So I highlighted that word made. I also circled the word bronze. This is the bronze area. Oh, we see some silver. Silver is used for the hooks and some of the connecting pieces. But for the most part, this is made of bronze. And I think we talked about it back in Exodus, 27, Exodus 30. We talked about bronze being this durable alloy of copper and tin. All right, so the things that go on the outside of the tabernacle, the parts and pieces of the court, the altar, this basin for holding water and its stand. This is all made of bronze, a durable metal. And so that stood out to me. Bronze versus, okay, so the outside is made of bronze versus the inside. What did we talk about yesterday? It's ornate. It's made with beautiful, pure gold. An interesting thing is, it is the inside of the tabernacle that God will see. And in some ways, it's as if only God will see, right? Yes, we have the Most High Priest who will be inside that Holy of Holies once a year. And we will have priests coming in and out of just on the other side of that veil. But for the most part, not many people will ever in their lifetime see the inside of the tabernacle. This is God's dwelling place. This is for his eyes alone. So I thought that was a pretty interesting detail, and I hung out there with my application. But along with that, I also want to mention in verse 8, so Bezalel made the basin of bronze and its stand of bronze from the mirrors of the ministering women who ministered in the entrance of the tent of meeting. Now, we didn't see that detail back in Exodus chapter 30. Here's a little detail of how the commandment was fulfilled. And I thought it was a beautiful detail. Here we have ministers. Well, we have ministers and they're women. They are serving at the entrance to the tent of meeting. We don't know exactly what they're doing or what their purpose is outside of they are serving outside of the entrance. And we do know their gift. They give of their mirrors that are made of bronze to make this basin of bronze and its stand. And if we think about what that basin is, this is where the priests are going to wash their hands and feet. This has a somewhat symbolic of purifying, of cleansing before serving in the court and serving at the altar of burnt offering. So not much in the way of answers as far as, okay, why is this mentioned? Who are these women? What is their ministry like? We don't have really much in the way of answers for that, but we can learn something of their hearts, right? By this gift that they have been given. These bronze mirrors, that's hard to say. These bronze mirrors would have been valuable, and they gifted these to the making of this basin. So we see something beautiful in their hearts that they would gift these bronze mirrors, which would have been high quality bronze, right? Highly polished, that you could see yourself and see a reflection of yourself in them. So what a beautiful gift. I loved noticing that and that gift. All right, friends, here we are. We are almost to the very end of our journey through Exodus. And we've been asking that question for this particular book 3 of our series. What is it we learn about worship? Well, I've already mentioned it. Obedience, obedience, obedience. we see they are following God's word and directions. Bezalel and the people obey. Like, I just feel like that has to be my number one application. Where do just obeying, following the Lord, listening to his word, listening to his spirit, obeying what he would have me to do for today. And then I just ask this question too. I think every day we ought to ask this question as we peer into God's word. What is it we learn about God? And here's where I went. Similar to yesterday, I noticed that the beauty of the tabernacle is on the inside. The outside is practical and it's durable. The inward, it is the inside that is ornamental and made beautiful and made with that pure gold, that refined gold. And so it just pointed out to me that God's ways, the outward is meant to be durable and practical. The inward, the part that he will see, is to be made beautiful. So I took that. The outward part of the tabernacle is practical. And the outward part of this tabernacle for God's Spirit is intended to be practical. We put so much into beautifying this when really this is just meant to be durable. It's meant to be practical. And maybe we ought to think about those practical things of taking care of this tabernacle God has given us. We only have one, right? So thinking about the things that help this tabernacle be durable on the outside, the sleep, the exercise, the eating right, maybe we've put off a medical checkup. I just think that might be a practical application. What is it that we help to make these tents durable and we care for them in the way that God would intend for us to? All right. It's not so much about beautifying this as just taking care of the tent and then beautifying this. Focus on inward beauty. Focus on the beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is precious to whom? To God, which is precious in God's sight. Yes, he is the only one who looks in here. He's the only one who abides in here. What does that look like for us today? What does it look like to beautify this, to have that inward beauty, that beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which does not give way to fear? All right, this is about faith. This is about trusting God. What is it we need to do today to increase our trust? Maybe it's just surrendering our worries and our cares to the Lord. Maybe it's continuing to be with him in his word. Maybe it's taking time for quiet to remember who he is and that these are the things that he cares about. All right. There are many ways to apply this word today, but let's think about that. Let's think about our obedience. Let's think about the outward part of the tabernacle being made durable, and let's think about the inward part being made beautiful, being refined by God. All right, friends, I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow.